Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another small fighter ship, but this one is semi-serious and well half a bit of fun. And it's called the BullFrog, which is this lovely thing that I'm currently standing on. So this is a very good looking small ship that features a couple of guns around the outside to blast your enemies with. We've got hydrogen thrusters, so we are good for both space and being on a planet. And then on the inside, we kind of have a stripper pole and a couple of disco lights for whatever reasons. Anyway, we'll look at that a bit later on. Pressing F10, finding it in spawn menu, that is the wrong thing, there's the correct thing. But this thing is 2,544 small blocks, using the Automatons, Heavy Industry, Warfare 1 and Sparks of the Future DLC packs. We see here there's a battle-ready vessel on the outside, and is a battle-ready vessel on the inside, with a very mischievous face. So giving this thing a thumbs up, move around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside. Then we'll go take a look at the interior, and well, I think that'll be that. Outside of maybe finding some space pirates, or just slamming it into an asteroid. So at the very front for the BullFrog, this is what we get. So we have no windows to peer outside of, instead we've got a bunch of steel blocks, we've got a white strip in the middle, surrounded by a bunch of grey battered armor steel blocks, then we have a strip of red that goes on the left and right hand side to break everything up. Now that is the only problem with this ship, is that there is no way to actually see outside from the interior seat. You will need to attach on a camera here if you wanted to, or you'll need to drive it around via one of the guns. You have to set that up yourself. Moving around to onto the side, this is all we can see. So we still got our grey, white and red steel blocks, until we eventually come around to the very side of the thing, where we've got ourselves an autocannon turret to blast your enemies with. There is also a secondary one on the top, and a third one on the opposite side, so we've got a nice bit of coverage all the way around this ship, just in case you do get caught off guard by a couple of drones. Just below there we can see a couple more hydrogen thrusters for our left and right, then over on the rear section a blinking red light with a connector to dock this thing up. Round towards this section we still got a grey, white and red steel blocks. Then as we move around towards the very back of this thing, we then got 3 large hydrogen thrusters which should give us a nice amount of speed while driving this thing around, and they have been done very well. So we've got some yellow steel blocks just surrounding everything, which really emphasises the yellow flame coming off those hydrogen thrusters, especially when we're moving this thing around. Then we can see right around that we've got some more black corrugated steel blocks to house it quite nicely. If we were to go in between our thrusters, this is simply how it's been connected up, so it's attached onto the main body, but we do have a slight slope just to make it a bit more decorative. Anyway, pull away from there, moving all the way up and looking down, then we've got a lot going on with this. For something that's not using many blocks on its overall design, it's done a fantastic job using the steel blocks and all the different skins to give it a very busy look overall. But anyway, towards the middle there, where I'm standing, we can see a doorway to get in and out. There's some more hydrogen thrusters to move you down. Then towards the front, there's our other gun. And at the very front, there's that white strip we saw that you can always replace and maybe put a camera on there if you need to. Moving all the way down underneath this thing, here we go. Some more fantastic use of our red steel blocks. She's adding as little bumps to break up that flat surface. Then towards the middle there, more hydrogen thrusters, even more great use of our dark grey steel blocks. Once again making fantastic use of that dark grey skin, using the actual patterns on the skin block to add decoration rather than adding on physical blocks. And towards the back there, not too much else to talk about, but there is our thrusters. And there we are. That's a brief look around the outside of the BullFrog, and it looks surprisingly good with how it's all being set up. But now what I can do is just grab hold of my character, and it's now time to come on the inside. But yes, around here I did forget, we do have an LCD screen with a very quizzical look to him. Yes, jetpacking all the way up, there is our doorway, opening up this and dropping all the way down. If my character can, keeps getting stuck on doors for whatever reason. Now we can close this up, and this is what we're first greeted with. So on the inside here we can see a couple of blinking lights coming through from the next room. We've also got a notice telling us authorized personnel only. Then on the opposite side here we've got a weapon locker, and then another warning sign saying airlock mechanism. Turning all around we can see 2 air vents and then 2 buttons, with some hydrogen tanks sitting right behind it. These 2 buttons have nothing going on with them, but you could, if you wanted to, set them up to control the doors. So you can say press that one to close that and cycle the airlock, then press that one to also cycle the airlock, and then open up the interior door. That's all up to you. Anyway, opening up this and coming through here, here is your stripper pole with a couple of flashing lights and 2 sound blocks, and some lovely use of some very colourful steel blocks just going all around the room. And yes, you can just stand here and dance to your friends if you wanted to. And I think that's enough of that. Yes, on the side here we see even more air vents, 3 on this side, 3 on the opposites, so we've got plenty of oxygen on the inside here, and well, there's not too much else to talk about other than having a disco floor with a pole through the middle. walking all the way past this, and then just, well, we can't actually close the door behind me because I can't get my character all the way through. This is what we get at the very front. So we've got 2 rover cockpits to drive this thing around, a bunch of very decorative LCD screens showing us the stars and planets in the distance, got a bright light at the top there, a couple programmable blocks with nothing going on with them, so you could always add some stuff on there if you wanted to. But hopping into this seat, so we get a better view at the front here, we see custom weapon controllers, we see more programmable blocks, we see event controllers, as well as a close-up of our LCD screen showing us all the stars and that in the distance. And if we look all the way down, bring up the HUD, we've got no controls over this in this seat. We need to hop out, come into this seat, so this has got everything we want to do. And well, that is absolutely nothing. I was a bit confused, I was expecting it maybe be a remote control ship. No, there are no controls set up on this to use, so if you want to, you have to set them up manually. So say for the secondary seat where you can't drive the ship around, you can always drag down these guns, take control of them, blast your enemies with if you want to have some manual firepower. You then have controls over your doors to open and close it and lock them behind you. Turn off your hydrogen thrusters at the front, go into a cruise. Everything is a possibility. And of course, for all your programmable blocks, you can set them up the auto door and airlock script, a auto 180 script, whatever you can think of. As for that, all we've got to do now is fly this thing around, and it's time to explode this to see what kind of damage we can deal. So moving forwards, as you expect, we are bloody fast thanks to our 3 hydrogen thrusters. We're not too fast at the end of the day compared to other ships of a similar size. There's quite a lot of weight behind this thing, surprisingly. So when you move forwards, there is like a slight judder, and it does feel quite meaty. Coming to a stop, we are a bit slower, but still very respectful at the end of the day. Charging along at high speeds, you're not going to risk slamming into stuff, because you've plenty of time to stop yourself if you need to. Moving left, and moving around quite slow, not as slow as some ships on the left and right. Moving down, a nice bit of speed with that, and then moving up, feels a little bit slower than moving down. It's quite odd. It's almost as if the ship is designed to be rotated all around and flown like that at the top, and it did catch me off guard because I was originally thinking the door was below the ship, and that would make perfect sense for how the thrust has been set up, but no, it seems to be all topsy-turvy. But anyway, as for the gyroscope controls, this is what we get. For this size of ship, it's absolutely perfect, a tiny bit of meat on there so it's not too floaty, but enough meat on there to make it a little bit draggy and make it have a nice bit of control over it. And I do spy a little blinking thing over there, which could be an enemy ship. And here we are. For once when I'm recording a video, the space pirates decide to spawn exactly when I want them to spawn. So here we are over at a pirate mayday signal, where unfortunately I can't zoom all the way in because there is no camera on there. In fact, I can always do that right now, make it a bit easier. So hopping out of this, coming all around past our stripper pole, and then all the way up to here, hopping all the way out, grabbing hold of a camera. So here we go with this. I can always have a top-mounted camera. That's actually a good idea for this ship. You can always pop one on right in the middle here, centralized, and the front there. It's not in the way of that gun. And well, you do have then to remove any blocks on the front here, maybe house it, give it a bit of protection, and all of that. So now dropping all the way back in, down we come, closing up that, coming through here, closing up that once again. Now getting into this seat, bringing the camera all the way across. Here we go, we now zoom all the way in, and there we are. There's the Space Pirate Mayday, where they might have a couple guns on there, might not. I'm not too sure with these things, because sometimes they do have quite a lot of guns in there, especially rocket launchers, but sometimes they only have a couple of interior turrets on the inside, which is, well, quite fun at the end of the day, because you never know what you're going to get. But anyway, back in the third-person view, here we go. We now got all of our guns firing on the outside. And it looks like, yes, it is going to be one of these ones where they don't shoot back. And I do believe I made a mistake earlier. They're not autocannons around the outside. They are assault cannons. I always get them mixed up. They look so similar on their overall design. It's almost like the large block assault cannons and the artillery guns. I always get them really mixed up. But anyway, we're just going to blast this poor Mayday signal. They're not going to get any help anytime soon. And they're going to be an absolute sitting duck. And here we go. We're now charging along. We've got 1.6 kilometers to go. They are slowly floating away from the damage done by the guns. But here we are, we're now at maximum speed. And to make sure I actually hit, unlike last time where I just skimmed a couple of guns off the top of that pirate outpost, we're now going to line ourselves up properly with the camera. And now it's time to come out of that into third-person view. And here we go, all the way across. There goes the guns once again. And any second now, hiding all of that. Here we go, straight to the side. And there we are, a fantastic crash into them. What survived? Well, we lost everything at the front, but I suppose at the end of the day, all we need to do is slap on a new seat onto this, and we'll be ready to go. And now, hopefully, we can move this thing forward. Yes, we can. We can just about slow down. There we are. We've got a couple of thrusters that somehow survived. Moving left, moving right. We are all good and can continue bullying this poor little space pirate. So I suppose one more time, we're going to slam straight into it, and that'll be that for this video. So lining up with the pole in the middle, We're now going to go in at maximum speed, hiding all that once again. Hopefully we can hit this thing. I don't think there's much remaining of that. In fact, it looks like it's a tiny little blob. But here we go. And there we are. It was just a tiny little connector. And that's now floating away. But anyway, it's a lovely little ship to use in your world if you do want to have something with a very nice creative design. It's got a nice bit of firepower on there, which could be removed with autocannons. In fact, you could remove the turret on top and replace that with autocannon for much more rapid attacking of any kind of drones, just in case the guns on the side do miss it, because the drones are acting erratically. And well, you can always flesh out the interior with a few more bits and bobs that you need. And of course, you can remove the disco room if that's what you want. But anyway, there'll be a link to it in the description below, along with a link to Skybox I'm currently using. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.